So to start with, many of the techniques that we'll be looking at here are basic, but they are really essential that you're able to identify these. You really need to know these ones. And you need to be able to discuss them as well. Okay? So not only will they aid in what you do in English, but they'll also help you to be able to talk about texts and books that you may be given to read. So understanding what these techniques do, and these techniques can be both visual at times or just written as language. But for you to be able to use and utilize those to be able to prepare an answer or a response. Okay, so the ones we're going to look at are alliteration or assonance, which are pretty much the same thing. I'll go through that in a moment. Hyperbole, tone and mood, imagery, repetition and rhyme, and onomatopoeia. Alright, so we're just going to look at these six in this video, and really what these are just some very basic techniques they use to generally create a bit of colour with language and to certainly help with sound and atmosphere. So we're not going to look so much in this particular set of or this particular video at more complex and abstract ones, but what we will look at are the basic ones, which really help to establish mood and really do create an impression with the reader. So we'll start with alliteration and assonance, and basically what it is a repetition of consonant sounds. Okay, so if you're looking at alliteration, it's consonant, and assonance is just the same thing but with vowel sounds. Alright, so your A, I, O, and U. So for example, we'll look at a couple here. So Peter Pauper picked a pair of pickled pears. Alright, yeah, I dare you say that 5 times fast. So it's that repetition of sounds, and what that really creates is a sense of, well, first of all, it's a bit of a rhythm, and it's a catchy rhythm, but it's also something that sounds quite pleasing when you hear it. And certainly if you hear someone say it right, you're almost entertained by it. They can also be basically approached in another way. So we're going to look at a different example here, using the same consonant sound. So it's still alliteration here. We're not going to really look at assonance because, as I said, it is the same thing. But Paul approached the proposal with apprehension. So even though they don't all start with the same letter, as long as that sound is there, then that's what we mean by alliteration. Okay, so as long as either the words start with those letters or those sounds exist. Okay, so in both of those cases, both of those follow a pattern of alliteration, and both of them have that P sound which is repeated throughout. Alright, moving on, we'll look at hyperbole. Now hyperbole is another word for exaggeration. Okay, so if you ever get stuck, hyperbole, exaggeration, marry the two together because that's exactly what they are. And it's when a writer exaggerates an idea, a person, a thing, or an event, and they do it for what we call dramatic effect. So in other words, like we've got with this image here, where we've got a really big shark, bigger than anything that we'd ever get. And we'd exaggerate it. Why? Because sharks are scary. So what's scarier than a shark? An even bigger shark. So that's what the dramatic effect is to create even more fear, to make us even more afraid of sharks. We've got an even bigger shark. So he was almost knee-high to an ant. Now that's almost the opposite of what we got in the image there. And that being knee-high to an ant is sort of an exaggeration as well. If you were looking at any person, no one would be that small, and yet we use that to sort of create the effect of, well, he's really, really short. Or I could touch the sky, I was so happy. So I'm so happy, but I can't literally touch the sky. So it's really just playing with your imagination a little bit, and doing so in order to be able to create the effect that, yes, I really am happy.